You're listening to DraftKings Network.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Google Gemini. With the Gemini app, you can talk live and have a real-time conversation with an AI assistant. It's great for all kinds of things, like if you want to practice for an upcoming interview, ask for advice on things to do in a new city, or brainstorm creative ideas. And by the way, this script was actually read by Gemini. Download the Gemini app for iOS and Android today. Must be 18 plus to use Gemini Live.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I don't need a quail egg. Just give me an egg. I'll assume it's
Quail
a
eggs are
chicken.
good.
Let's call it
Have
a
you had
day.
duck eggs? Duck eggs are great.
Yeah, I don't, I just assume all eggs are from chickens.
Okay.
Unless it's big and you need a hammer to open it, then it's an ostrich.
Have you guys ever seen a video of an ostrich egg being, peeled open?
Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
What happens?
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, just 96 calories. Available for delivery. Dan, it's my second favorite week on the sports calendar. Pinehurst number 2. God's country. Extra thick fairways. Huge natural sand areas. Greens that run a 10 on the stimp meter. The ghost of Payne Stewart's dramatic win in 1999. Another major champion will be crowned. And Dan, make no mistake about it. Just like that, U.S. Open week is back.
Stugotz, I'm sorry. I was distracted during that because...
Stimp meter?
No, I just noticed that behind Billy, they've put on the televisions the Clevelander window.
Whoa.
And so I just went flying into the past back there visually because that's not a window.
I miss it.
And that is not, I just
That brings
got,
me back.
I just got lost.
I drove by it the other day. It
Really?
started shaking. Yeah.
There's a video that the Clevelander put out of 50 Cent by himself there on Sunday. Like they had a whole section roped off for him or whatever, but it was just 50.
I'm sorry, I was distracted by that, Stugotz. I don't know who did that, but it's brilliant. It just brought me
great,
back in
yes.
time. I got legitimately
I'm more
confused.
comfortable.
I just asked Billy a second ago, how long has that been up there?
If you missed it, by the way, Dan, U.S. Open week is back.
Yeah, I don't believe you on that it's your second favorite
It
week
is.
of the year.
Yeah,
I don't
it is.
think all of the football weeks are more of a big week for you
I
than
think
that.
Masters and Super Bowl week.
Masters is number 1, U.S. Open number 2, Super Bowl week number 3.
You're just
I get
saying
sad during Super Bowl week. I do. It's the end of football. It's bittersweet. Speaking of back, after flying across the country to record part 2 of his exclusive sit-down with George Sedano, Dan, you
That's right.
are back.
I am back.
We were back yesterday.
We didn't get Sedano this time. No.
What happened?
Ted Danson instead.
Really? Sam?
How about that?
That's right.
Name another character.
Ted
Wow,
Danson and Curb.
Really?
I can't.
Really?
Well, he plays
The
Ted
Good
Danson.
Place?
It was a good character. Yeah, The Good Place. I mean,
I
come
don't
on.
Sam Malone. I mean,
Most people of this generation don't know Sam.
That's what he said. He said it's
terrible
the,
generation.
It's the good place now. It's not Cheers
It's
for him.
it's The Good Place.
How is his hair?
Excellent.
always.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
People accuse it of being fake.
Does he smell good?
He does.
I bet he smells good.
He also could have been the dad in Poltergeist, but the aforementioned Tom Selleck, he was fighting him in Magnum P.I., and then they noticed, Spielberg noticed he had a bald spot, and he just didn't make him the dad in Poltergeist.
Really?
Spoiler alert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't give it all away.
It was 90 minutes.
The Chicago Bulls plan to hire Billy Donovan III, son of Billy Donovan, to coach their NBA G League team. Apparently, They use the new job search firm called nepotism.com.
He works hard.
Hey, London, the Mets, you can have them. Headline, Flava Flav order the full Red Lobster menu in an attempt to save the Cheddar Bay biscuits following bankruptcy. Not all heroes wear capes, Dan. Some wear clocks. Paul Skeens throws a splinker. Hey, baseball, stop making up pitches. Is it a splitter or a sinker? Make up your mind.
Make up your mind,
Oh,
Skeens.
Jesus.
A splinker.
James Harden said he wants to be remembered as a winner. Hey, James, got some bad news for you. It's too late. Imagine hearing that it's too late on being a winner. Too bad for James. Rough day. In the event you aren't keeping score at home, and if you are not, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Greg Cody has taken a commanding 2-0 series lead over Mike Johnson.
A big week for Greg Cody. A big year for Greg Cody. A late career resurgence. The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody climbing up
Fine.
your charts.
Thank you.
Mike Johnson, your serve. The C in Greg Cody stands for Conn Smythe.
Dad, you know what that is?
It's a trophy, MVP. Is that the
He
MVP
put the
trophy?
con in Conn Smythe.
There you go.
You and me both.
Greg Connie.
Hey, Harden, you want to know what would have helped with that whole remembered as a winner thing? Winning!
Yeah, there's that.
Yelling at him. Death, taxes, and Swiatek on the red clay. 3 straight. She's amazing. Mets owner Steve Cohen said he likes the food better in London than in New York. Hey, Steve.
Come on, man.
The first rule of owning a team in New York is never admitting another city does anything better than New York.
But that one's ridiculous.
It's absurd.
I mean, that's come on.
You can't have every free agent signing be a bad one. Your team can't be in a worse place now than it was when you purchased the team, and then you say that. You can't do it. It's a rule.
I feel like people conflate like British pub food with the food in London. Those are, I would say, two different
Yeah,
things.
you think he's eating in the fanciest of restaurants there. He's not eating fish and chips.
Which even I'm a big fan. It's pretty good.
Little shepherd's pie.
Oh, I love shepherd's pie.
Blood sausages.
Little game I like to call multiple choice. You know what the S in Steve Cohen stands for, Dan?
I do not.
Is it A, sell the team, B, stay in London, C, shut up, or D, all of the above?
Yeah, it's all of the above.
Yeah. Good.
It's amazing what's happened there. He spent all the money, and they're the worst.
They're rebuilding.
Oh,
On a $326 million
that's
payroll.
just unbelievable. What a bad move all of that has been. He has spent so much money to be the worst.
You don't compound it. That's what I'm saying by saying London's food is better than New York's.
But I mean,
you don't do it. So what are you doing?
One of the things we do all the time in this country is we think that the people who have money are smarter than everybody else, and they're not.
And the problem with that is it emboldens cheap spending teams like the Marlins to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the worst part of that. The worst part of that is there is a fool running the Mets.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel starts every meeting 24 minutes after the hour since it's been 24 years since the Dolphins last won a playoff game. Hey, Mike McDaniel, get over yourself. If they win a playoff game this year, I can promise you it won't be because your meeting started at 8:24. It's absurd.
Get over yourself, McDonald. You dared to have
McDaniel.
meetings.
Fine.
Excuse me.
It's a
Yes,
fine,
that is a
yeah.
fine, a big one. You dare to have a meeting at a time that I don't approve of.
Mick overrated.
Well said.
Thank you. A belated happy 6-9 day to the entire Gronkowski family. Athletes that connote 6-9 day. OLI. James Harden. Dick Butkus. Richie Sexton. Number 5, Reggie Tongue. Number 4, Sixto Lezcano. The whole list was for that. Number 3, Jeff Conine. Niner. Number 2, Dick Paul. And number 1, Oral Hershiser. Keep an eye on the Reds.
Cody loves that. Look at Cody. Look how delighted Cody is.
For the love of a dick pole.
You know what the C in Connor McDavid stands for? It stands for couldn't hold a candle to Wayne Gretzky. You know what the E in Evan Rodriguez stands for? It stands for everything Connor McDavid was supposed to be.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
How South Florida is that? Rodriguez has knocked off McDavid through 2 games. Rodriguez can't be stopped. There's a person in the Stanley Cup final named Rodriguez who's scoring more goals than anybody.
Yep. I love it.
How is that possible?
Last week, Greg Cody said he doesn't like to gloat. Greg Cody, gloating for the remainder of time. Collision course. The G in Greg Cody stands for gloat. Using metal bats never seemed fair to me.
I am scared for the first baseman, the pitcher, and the third baseman every time someone swings in college baseball.
Everyone in college baseball is batting .345.
Because of those bats.
I hate the sound, too. It's awful.
I don't mind the sound. Do you like the sound of an aluminum bat at Batard show? Put it on the poll. I think most people like the sound of that.
Florida's Joe Caglione can mash. Cags, only SEC player ever to hit 30-plus homers in back-to-back seasons. Taylor.
I was going to say Ethan.
Do anybody listening to this know who you're talking about?
Cags?
Taylor and Ethan?
Everyone
the
does.
The reference you're making?
Yeah.
Have you established?
Cags.
Everybody
Yes.
knows it's canon,
Have you
Dan.
established the characters of Taylor and Ethan? Or
Yes,
you're just talking to each other?
Yes.
It's also Jack, not Joe.
Tomato.
No, that's a fine for you. You owe Jessica money here. That's a fine for you.
Really?
Yes, you've not been paying your fines. Cody's not been paying his fines. Cody owed you a bunch of money, Jessica. I'm the only one around here paying his fines. You guys owe all sorts of money to Jessica.
I've never been fined.
For that? I mean, I don't have it.
You do have it. We just saw it.
You got change for a 20?
Got change for a
I'll
1.
Venmo you.
Venmo.
For everyone getting upset over the Caitlin Clark snub, do me a favor, I dare you. Name another Olympic snub over the last 10 years. Anybody?
I don't understand.
Everyone's
Candace
getting
Parker?
upset. Caitlin Clark got snubbed from the Olympic team, and everyone's making a big deal about it. And I'm just saying, no one made a big deal when some others got snubbed from an Olympic
Well,
team.
Candace Parker, yeah.
Okay.
So there's.
I'm
one.
saying people who started paying attention to the sports over the last 6 months.
I get what you're saying.
Are you just
Thank
going
you.
for easy applause, or?
I wasn't even an observation. I didn't even have it written down. It was just a random
I
take
was
in the
so
middle of
confused. I'm
observation.
like, where did that come
It's
from?
not on the sheet.
Wow, an ad-lib
He
observation.
just wanted some easy applause. He knows what the notes are that he has to hit to just
It's
get some
absurd.
easy
All of a
applause.
sudden, everyone cares.
But it was confusing because there was previously a big snub.
The only thing worse than losing a UFL bet is losing a UFL bet and having to listen to an Acho call the entire game.
And Acho?
Yeah, just one of the Acho guys.
It was that annoying.
It's pretty annoying, and I lost the bet. Compounded it.
You're complaining about the broadcaster in a UFL game.
I had to lash out at somebody, and Acho got it.
Championship weekend this weekend.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
The reporter that thought she was talking to Vince Young, but wasn't. It happens.
Happened to you a year ago this month
Yeah.
with the quarterback of your football team, the New York Jets.
Yeah. It was a country music singer.
That's amazing. We didn't do enough with that.
It's one of the funniest
we
moments
didn't
in my
do it.
entire
And he
life.
doesn't know what the Jets quarterback looks like, and he confuses him with Jake Owen.
Had a hell of a year.
Mets, Phillies, and England got me thinking about people in sports who connote a European city or country. Mark Portugal. Alex English. Paris Campbell. Number 5, Jim Rome. Number 3, Sarah Spain.
Wait a minute. What was number 4?
Number 4, Sarah Spain.
How do you not know how to do a top 5 list?
Number 3, Brock Berlin. Number 2, Drake London. And number 1, Jeff Ireland. In this week's edition of June, David Njoku said Ken Dorsey's offense is juicy. What does that mean?
It sounds good. I would like a juicy offense.
I'm not certain you could say you won the French Open if you didn't have to play Nadal in the finals. I'll get back to you on this. No Djokovic, no Nadal. That's tough. No Nadal, that's tough. Try saying that after 3 hours of speaking. Anyway, where was I?
No Nadal. I'm just saying where you were.
And no one's saying that Alcaraz isn't good. Like, he is really good.
He's great.
pretty good.
Yeah,
So
but you have
I
to
feel
beat
like that
Nadal,
doesn't apply.
Djokovic. You have to. I
Yeah.
feel like you have. I'm not sure yet. I'll get back to you on it. Still thinking about it. I don't have a college baseball team, but I want one. Just because of how awesome a super regional sounds. Oh, God, I want a super regional. Darren Waller retiring after one season with the Giants. The biggest loser in all of this, us. Because now he has even more time to focus on his music. Marcedes Lewis re-signed with the Bears. As long as there's an NFL, there will be a spot on someone's roster for Marcedes Lewis.
Is it 20 years now? How
I think
long?
it's 19.
Are you kidding me?
Next year he'll be Ferrari Lewis, though.
Marlins reliever A.J. Puck is 0-7 this year with a 7.30 ERA. More like A.J. Suck. 19,250 Panther fans at the bank on Monday, Dan. Congratulations to the 18,000 who attended their first game.
That's not fair.
Sunrise, Florida, Hockey Town. This weekend, the Yankees were selling a hat with one side being Aaron Judge and the other Shohei Ohtani. And all I could wonder was, who the hell was that made for? Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
What a year 2024 was. Happy New Year's, everybody. New Year is this week. And some of you are going to be counting down to the new year with a lot of friends and a lot of family around. And that's a lot of palates. How do you make everybody happy? You make them happy by making New Year's time a Miller time. It's a beer with taste you know you can depend on that won't let anybody down. No games, no gimmicks, just great beer for people who like beer. In all my favorite moments of 2024, Miller Lite was right there by my side. Responsibly, of course. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers. Simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and that iconic golden color that we all know and love. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Stugotz here. Right now, my friends over at Simply Safe are extending their massive Black Friday deal for our Le Batard Show listeners. Simply Safe is the home security I trust to keep my home and family safe. I've been telling you that for years. This is your last chance to protect your home at Simply Safe's lowest prices of the year. Simply Safe is a new way to protect your home that stops intruders before they break into your home. Old school systems only take action once someone is already inside your home. That's too late. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection changes the game by preventing crime before it even happens. Simply Safe is extending its massive Black Friday deal for our listeners. This week only, you can take 50% off any new system with a select professional monitoring plan. This is your last chance to claim their best offer of the year. Head to simplysafe.com/DLB to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this season. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind protected with Simply Safe. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don Le Batard.
I heard that as a woman faking pain. I didn't think that sounded real. I really didn't, you know.
It was not fake. It was in no way fake.
Yeah.
You can spot a woman faking it?
Stugotz.
Yes, I can, Jess.
Expert.
I've been married 40 years.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Juju, put it on the poll, please. Is Marcedes Lewis playing 18 NFL seasons one of the most amazing things you've ever heard? At Batard Show. How many games is that? Because he doesn't miss a lot of games either. He's always out there.
The stat is crazy because he has played over 18 years, 268 career games. What's more mind-blowing? LeBron James has played more playoff games in the NBA.
More playoff games than Marcedes
Playoff
Lewis
games.
has had games, 268. It always does have to come back to LeBron.
How many good seasons, though, has Marcedes Lewis had? I mean, it feels like maybe 2, maybe.
Well, enough. What's
And
a
that's
good
a stretch.
season? Because enough to get rehired every season for 18 seasons when the entire position is different, but not the one person who plays it. Because he's been around long enough that they were a different size when he started.
Wow, never made a Pro Bowl.
Right.
What are the odds? Literally, what are the odds? You played
Stumble
that
into
long?
one.
Okay,
I
now
mean,
we've
someone
tried-
doesn't want to
All right,
play.
so
I
it's
mean-
either one of the most amazing things I've ever heard, or Greg Cody and Stugotz are here to tell you how it's not amazing at all because he kind of stunk, didn't he?
He made it in 2010.
All right, good job, Dad.
And they can't read the internet. It's an
I didn't
added
say
bonus.
it.
No, I understand. But it's just doing the show with two of you on Tuesdays.
My dad's
where-
like a dog with a bone on this.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
I'm
gonna
wrong.
keep
Easy mistake.
looking.
Oh, he had
I'm
10
looking at the
tutties.
stats.
He had 10 tutties, 2010. I mean,
That was 15
That's his
years
Pro Bowl
ago.
year.
Who could have seen the
prime.
Marcedes Lewis show coming on a Tuesday?
You
in
couldn't have
June?
seen it coming from any angle. One of
Only
the
on the Levitard show.
One of the funny things that just happened here that is behind the scenes a little bit, Billy, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I don't know if there's anyone around here in our entire world who enjoys Stugotz's weekend observations more than Greg Cody.
good friend.
Greg, well, but it's not just a good friend. Like, it's not because he just loves you. It's because Greg Cody has a special appreciation for the one-liner. He has been writing that as a Sunday column that you've never read, Stugotz, for about 25 years. I think it's one of Greg Cody's most long-standing benchmarks. Do you want to take a guess, Stugotz, what he names that column? A column in the market that if you were reading sports for the last 20 years and you were the friend that he is, you might have read one time in 20 years.
Weekend wrap.
It is not the Weekend Wrap. It has got a strange name. It's
Something about a bird.
No, it's not. It's not an upset bird either. That's his weekly picks column that is on Thursdays. First of all, Greg, is this your most long-standing featured landmark journalistic item? This notes column.
Okay, I don't want to embarrass you, who obviously haven't read it either for a long, long time, but I haven't written the random evidence column in a long, long time.
Oh, wow.
It used to be. And to your point, I love a one-liner, and that's old school journalism. Like Edwin Pope wrote one of those, Bernie Lincecum, all of these old sports columnists who
Bernie
who
Lincecum.
were my mentors.
Tim's dad.
The classic Sunday notes column used to be one-liners like that.
The art of the pithy headline also, as newspapers and magazines now go by the wayside, it's really a lost art, Greg.
Yep. No, you're right.
Let's bring it back, Greg.
Bring it back, Jack.
Me and you
Bring
together.
it back, Jack. I like that. I gotta write down that phrase. Bring it back, Jack.
It's
You use it all the
your
time.
phrase.
Oh yeah, it is my phrase. Yeah, you're right. I got so many, I can't keep track of them all. No,
It's also Jack Buck's book, by the way.
Jack Back book.
His autobiography.
All right,
yeah.
Greg.
What's
go
that called?
Greg, go sit in the
Bring it
penalty
back,
box.
Jack.
No
It's-
way.
yeah, by Jack
no,
Buck.
No
Yeah.
way. That can't be true.
Greg,
What?
the show's moving a little
Lawyer
fast
out.
for you. Go sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes because
I need a break.
you're just shouting rhymes
He's
in various
acknowledging.
directions.
He's
Yes.
acknowledging.
No,
I'm trying to compliment his
go outside. Yeah,
said he knew
Actually
Get
go,
get out of
though.
here.
Actually
Just
go.
get out of here.
Whatchamacallit,
I'll
though.
miss
Yes.
you. I'll miss you.
Thank you, Greg,
Love you.
for
Love
all of your good work. You have been a star for a couple of years.
He
You can
only
be
slept like 2 hours.
Yep.
you can be
Hopped up
forgiven
on meds, Dan.
for being terrible. Look at him. Look at him drinking vigorously from a cup, not going to the penalty box in the other room.
He does what he wants.
Chris, but this is yes.
We're gonna
there's-
get that dance he does soon, where he like puts like one hand behind his back. I can feel that coming.
Chris, this is what I genuinely want.
There
to,
it is.
Go down this path with you. You really know your father. It's one of the great delights in listening to the Greg Cody Show featuring
That's
Greg
not
Cody.
the penalty box. He's going. He's
Yes,
just leaving.
He's just
going
gone.
home.
Chris, I really want for you to explain to the audience what a amazing both honor and pain in the ass it has been to be the producer on his podcast as all of it has gone to his head, because he really does believe at this point that any syllable he says, rhyme a word, he believes everything coming out of his mouth is gold. He has never had more popularity and success in his career than he's having right now with this resurgence.
And people get mad at me because I get frustrated with him and they tell me I'm too mean. What people say to you on this show, that's what I get on his show. So I enjoy it, but it's a little frustrating.
He's having a moment. Let the man enjoy it. I mean, he's having a great moment.
Look at him. What is he? What moment is he having? He's not doing anything.
He just ran out of gas on the show in a way that he even acknowledged, because all he had was Jack, Buck, Juck, and then he just folded his cards. Because at the end of 3 hours, there's nothing left in the tank. He's an old man, and we are taking all of the fumes that he has left, and we're trying to make gold out of all of them. And as an added bonus, he thinks everything he does is Emmy worthy, that he thinks that there's no one better at this than he is. No one's funnier. No one's better off the cuff. No one's more important, and no one deserves this stardom more than he does.
Him maximum.
We should put him on the USA basketball team.
Yeah.
In Greg's defense, some NASCARs run out of gas at the end of races. So
it's important that you defend Greg in these circumstances. It's been a good career move for you.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Don Batard. I feel like we need to normalize saying the scientific terms for organs on the air. Like penis? If someone, yes. You know what? If someone takes a foul ball to the penis, we should just say he took a foul ball to the penis. Say it. Stugotz. That free kick hit him right in the cock-a-doodle-doo. This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Jessica, I want to ask you about something that I think is super unusual, because over the last 10 days, I have wanted to tell a lot of men and just a lot of people around sports, we can learn here, because we're not going to pretend like we've been paying attention to the WNBA and know how to actually break down the games, because we have some expertise about the players involved. We can listen to the people who have been there and not just try and create entertainment around this thing. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, I have found myself watching what's happened over just the last 10 days and been interested in this part of it, which is like, okay, we're really going to do this. We're going to make her controversial, even though there's nothing controversial about her. We're just going to dump all of the symbolism on her and have the conversation about just her. And we're kind of going to be idiots about it. So as these numbers all skyrocket, right? Because there was a game that was supposed to be played last week in a 4,000 seat stadium. They moved it, and in a half hour, they sold out a 20,000 seat stadium. As these numbers all skyrocket, and we see the discourse get dumber because a lot of men are fumbling around trying to keep up on this, what am I to do with just the smartest commentary you've heard on whether Caitlin Clark was snubbed, whether it's good to market the sport because she's super famous, or if that's a spot that needs to be earned on an Olympic team to represent our country?
Well, I think first, what to do is to just, cover the games well. And I think, we could really use this as an opportunity to get people like Monica McNutt and Andrea Carter and Shanae Gumake on our show to, help us with that, because I find that, me and Lucy and Juju are probably the only three that are really watching the games religiously. So it's obviously, it's difficult to have a conversation with that. That's why we started the F1 Minute, right? Because, we're not going to all sit and discuss F1. So I get a minute.
We're doing
and
it with
that's the whole
hockey now,
thing.
and people are getting really mad at it. And if you don't allow it now, you're never going to allow it.
Yeah, but at least like there's multiple people here most of the time that watch hockey, so there can be more of a conversation. Like with us, like I find that no one wants to listen to me just like ramble about like the Fever Sun game probably. So it kind of is tough because of that, and I think that's why there's a great opportunity to like get players on and get reporters and journalists on and stuff like that are really like well versed in it to talk about the actual games, because I think that there's so much conversation about the conversation and so little about how the Fever played last night, how Caitlin's been playing, Dejanay Carrington having a great season for the Sun, Alyssa Thomas having a great season. The players that actually made the team are all extremely deserving of it. And just because some people maybe haven't heard of their names before doesn't mean that they don't have Olympic hopes and dreams too. A lot of them are first timers, and this is a career achievement for them. And if you've been following the USA basketball camps and the reporting from the camps and things like that, I think there was some surprise that she didn't make it because of her season at Iowa this year and last year, and like the way she played in college. And sometimes the USA team does bring a rookie and a young player with them, but they lost a lot of really good veteran talent after Tokyo. And so it seems like, based off of the interviews I've heard from the selection committee, they really wanted to lean on experience for this cycle, because they feel like the easiest way to win gold is to have players that have played together and have chemistry together and have played for their coach before in the camps to be on the team. And so Caitlin, because the Iowa has been so good the last few seasons, has missed a lot of the senior USA basketball camps, which is not her fault, but she, I think, is probably the only one who's actually handled it normally. Her quotes last week when she was asked about how she felt finding out that she missed the team, I thought were very poised, and like what she answered very well. She admitted like she was, not disappointed, but she understands how difficult it is to make the team. It's just, like you said, it's become more than just a basketball conversation now. Like, she's become an avatar for a lot of people to be engaged in a conversation that they don't really know a lot about.
She's
or understand
not
a lot
in any
about.
way controversial. She has not had a misstep, correct?
She's handled all of this very well.
To be a polarizing figure, you understand she's doing nothing to contribute to that. Nothing.
Yeah, and I think now it's gotten to the point where, like, I think some people want her to maybe say something to stop some of the hot takes that have been happening on her behalf, but she hasn't done that yet. And I don't know if that's necessarily like a fair place to put a young athlete in, because like you said, she has really kind of said and done the right things. And so the whole conversation happening around her, I think, just kind of sucks. And it'd be better just to cover the sport. And then when an announcement like that happens, there's not so much like shock and outrage, because you understand that in the context of USA basketball and the WNBA and the players that are on that roster, the players that they're sending to Paris are all extremely deserving. I've heard the argument that you add Caitlin Clark to increase the ratings and boost the marketability and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think USA basketball would tell you they want to win a gold medal. This is a opportunity for Diana Taurasi to win her 6th gold medal, which is something that is like almost incomprehensible in a team sport. It's an opportunity for all of these players that have earned it by being in the camps and by playing exceptionally well. There's MVPs going, there's all-stars going, there's just veteran excellence on this roster. I don't know who you take off to add Caitlin Clark. And would NBC probably get a little bit of a boost if she were on the team? I'm sure she would, but I don't also think she would play that much because she is a young player. And I think fans would then be outraged by that. So, like, what are we talking about here?
One of the narratives, overstated, I think, has been the quote-unquote resentment from other players in the league. You don't think that would have been worse if they gave her a spot on this roster just for ratings? Like, I'm not saying that the resentment's a real thing. I think it has been overstated, but this is helping that. If people think that she's being resented. I don't know how to speak.
She is being resented, and it's obvious that anybody who came in that position would be tested by the entire competitive ecosystem of, do you know what these women have endured to get where they are on the backs of a lot of work and not a lot of attention for her to get all of it? It would be normal human emotion to resent all of the attention that person was getting. My favorite part of what's happened over the last 10 days, though, is just the general presumption and arrogance of just everyone who just got here with snub, dumb, I don't know anything,
That's
but
problem.
dumb choice, snub, and now you're telling people who have real expertise, excuse me, you're going to need to hear me on this, dumb snub. And like that's what we're doing because we want to get in the conversation that we're late to.
I think the only loser here is NBC, truly, because I'm not exaggerating when I think that Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA right now the equivalent of Lionel Messi lifting MLS in America. But I think not putting her on the roster is 100% justifiable. And more than that, I think it's good for Caitlin Clark. Okay, she went straight from a long NCAA career right into the WNBA, had a real aggressive, rough start to that season. I think emotionally and physically, I imagine she can use the 2-week rest. I think this is good for all concerned except NBC.
With Caitlin Clark, and you look at, like, when we talk about resentment, she's just a star coming into a competitive league. If there's any level of resentment, that's why. You look back to Michael Jordan as a rookie, right? He comes into the league, and at the All-Star game, he's quote-unquote iced out by the rest of the veterans in the league. They won't pass him the ball. When LeBron James is coming into the league, his own teammates in Cleveland being interviewed by local news stations saying, yeah, he can join our bandwagon. We have guys at his position who are already better than him. They were the worst team in the NBA. When there's someone who's hyped up in your league and you're a competitor that's made it to the professional heights of your sport, of course there's going to be a little bit of, I want to shut that person down. I don't think that any of it has to do with like lifting up the sport or ratings or any of that. It's just competitors being competitive.
But why is the resentment so hard to understand? Of course, athletes would have resentment when someone else comes in and gets all the glory. They laid the foundation. They laid down everything for Caitlin Clark to be able to have this platform. And so, yeah, at times, they understand it and they appreciate that Caitlin Clark has brought a lot of eyeballs to the WNBA. But of course they're going to be resentful. And why wouldn't they? And who cares if they are? I mean, seriously.
Outrage is all good for the sport. All of this is good for the sport. We can welcome the idiots and have more in the tent.
I agree that like it's good that there's a larger conversation happening around the league, but I don't know if it's good for the sport for there to be this much pressure on one player. Like I would hope that if there are new eyeballs on the Fever because of Caitlin Clark, they're also then going to expand and be interested in the sport itself, not just the player itself, right? And I don't know, like, I don't know how you gauge that or measure that or how you do that, but I think that's really the job of the WNBA and of the commissioner is to figure out, like, if there is this influx of new fans because she was a great player that everyone watched in college, how do we get them to stick around and stay? And if you're having these constant conversations on ESPN largely and other networks just about Caitlin Clark, I don't know if that is a great thing.
But it's not just ESPN, right? So last night, and this is a delight. Look, man, if you've not been watching what happens in sports media, okay, black women are at the end of the line in where it is that opportunities present themselves. To see Monica McNutt on The Daily Show after saying of Stephen A. Smith, I thought we had a deep enough friendship that I could challenge you. I could challenge my friends. Monica McNutt has become a star here recently, and there are a lot of people covering this sport with expertise and personality that make the shows better and more informed than a great deal of what it is that you're watching, where you're like, oh, shit, these women had to be really good to get where they are. They can't do it the way the men have done it so easy. And so you see Monica McNutt transition easily to arguing with Stephen A. Smith after doing a lot of work for the Knicks, after being on Around the Horn, and now she's on The Daily Show last night, and she's saying to Jon Stewart, let's be honest, if not for Caitlin Clark, I'm not sitting here. And he says, no, that's not true. And Jon Stewart, it is true. She would not have been on your show Monday if Caitlin Clark weren't an avatar for men now want to talk about this too. And we just got here and we're going to be the experts and we're going to tell Monica McNutt what she doesn't know because we just got here and Caitlin Clark dumb snub.
Well, she also likely wouldn't have been on the show had she not challenged Stephen A. Smith.
Correct. And this is what it looks like to have that sport bring power to everybody around it, so you can now hear all the voices, and oftentimes those voices are going to make the old established men look and sound dumb because we just got here and we don't know what we're talking about. Anything that passes for expertise on your television from most of the men talking about this is bluster, and it's whatever it is they can fill the content space because they need to talk about this thing, not because for the most part. I shouldn't say this about everybody because it's not true of everybody. For most of us, it's true of me, and I recognize it in my brethren when I find that they need something to talk about and they need to figure out how to do it on television.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the traditional, like, yelling sports take model really engages longtime fans of the WNBA and of women's sports. Like, I struggle to see how that is something that people that I know and that I'm friends with and that I connect with, how that, like, really relates to them and includes them. So that's, I think, a misstep is just doing the same thing but worse for a new sport that they haven't watched.
Greg, you seem to want to get in there the whole time, and now you have nothing when I look at you.
Okay, because you looked
This
at
is
me-
the new and
you looked at me
unimproved Dan
too late.
Levitar show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.